One of my co-founders actually tells the story about how they had a seminar for menstruation, and all the boys in their school were told that they're going for a Vedic math workshop. What? I was in
Yeah.
sexually active my entire school life, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's no explanation.
Yeah.
And absolute teachers have told me that me and my best friend, like, oh, are you guys like lesbians?
How young are people using sexual wellness products?
I mean, I've never heard about it from anybody younger than 16, 17.
Okay, but there is a
But
16.
yeah, you would think that because we have the right information and we have access to so many resources, we would be more careful with contraception.
Sure.
But Gen Z is absolutely disgusting with it. I feel
You
like
know-
we're the enough is enough generation.
Correct. Y'all don't really care. You
That's
think-
such an ego boost.
Our guest today is Sania Rahmani. All of 21, she is one of the founding members of Sex Ed India. This organization is supplementing the lack of sex education in formal education systems by being the older siblings who many of us didn't have. Sex Education India is a youth-led collective that is Gen Z coded to its core and talks about sexuality education in a way that appeals to the generation of the digital age. Hi Sania, welcome to Sass It Up with Sassiest.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
I have so many questions to basically get answers to or obviously understand because you come from a different time and it almost feels 2 generations away from me. But it's so interesting to see how this generation is so much more aware, confident, all about self-worth, self-respect, and also making huge changes around them for other people. And you are also leading that with Sex Ed India. So how did you come up with Sex Ed India?
So basically, it was back in 2021. We all started with a group chat on Twitter. I realized that's very Gen Z, but we basically it started off very triggering in a way that there was a gang rape case in 2021 that got a lot of media attention, and it was pretty brutal. And we started talking about how when it comes down to it, we're only looking at a punishment for the perpetrators, or we're only looking at troubleshooting the problem or getting justice for
Yeah.
survivors or people who've been
Yes.
wronged. Nobody's talking about prevention. Nobody's talking about consent. Nobody's talking about things that need to happen so that bad things don't happen.
Correct.
Right? So we made a tweet thread, it went viral. And then I was like, we can't just let this be. Like, we can't just let this be one thing that went viral at some anecdote. We have to make something out of it.
Correct.
And we made an organization, and we didn't really know it was going to take a life of its own. But now we're like absolutely.
So how many members of founding members are still a part of Sex Ed India right now?
So we started out with 18.
Okay.
Right now there are 4.
Okay.
And yeah, it's just about the fact that like we've managed to keep that momentum going
Sure.
in a way that it gets tiring to talk about a lot of things over and over again, especially when it's difficult, heavy topics.
Correct.
But yeah, we've managed to do it because we know how important it is.
So just for my information, how do you go about, working in this organization? What do you all aim to do on a daily basis or a monthly basis?
So for me, it's mostly like thinking of where like our education system or our culture or our like parvarish is lacking, like what we didn't get, what I didn't get growing up, what my friends didn't get growing up, what my social circles didn't get growing up,
Yeah.
and how much of a need for it there is, what I can do to make it better for the generation right now, younger generations,
Correct.
sometimes even older.
Sure. Yeah, because that's something that we do at Sassiest. One of the reasons
Yeah.
why Sassiest came about is because we did not have access to what was needed at that moment of time through our personal journeys. And then we came up with, okay, this is absolutely required.
Yeah.
If we want to have better relationships, not only with ourselves, but with partners,
Yeah.
we need something that requires far more education and far more depth, more importantly,
Yeah.
of understanding and education. So, great initiative over here. What I want to understand is, obviously, Sex Ed, when it came to us, was literally a 3-hour period that was in a hall, speaking about menstruation, not really speaking about penetration, just
Yeah.
probably a basic awareness of anatomy. And I want to understand, was it the same for you? Like probably 20 years later. I mean, is it for the same for you? Has
I
it been
mean,
the same for you?
I think it has been in some sense, in
Mm-hmm.
a way that we've always had access to other alternatives, right? You always have the internet, you have magazines, you have movies, you have something
Correct.
that you can learn from.
Correct.
But which probably like 30, 40 years ago, people didn't have as much,
Yes.
right? Like the accessibility wasn't as much.
Yeah.
But for us, it was the same way, in a way that my teacher, as soon as reproduction comes up, like human anatomy comes up, she's just like skipping the page.
Oh.
One of my co-founders actually tells the story about how they had a seminar for menstruation, and all the boys in their school were told that they're going for a Vedic math workshop.
What?
Like, I'm sorry, I still don't know what Vedic math is. Like,
Yeah,
I have no
like,
idea.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
it does not figure.
It works in the same way for a lot of us, like in a way that we weren't as much afraid to talk about it, maybe, but that shame and stigma from the authority figures was still very much there,
Correct. So
and I'm sure
from-
it still is.
Yes, absolutely. But on a family front, was it the same, or did it change over a period of time for you?
So I think this is really cool in terms of my family, has been that starting May, of course, it used to be very, I remember there used to be some Dil Dosti dance or something. Bachpan mein.
D3, of course.
Remember?
Yeah.
And so I was like,
My friends are on the show.
oh,
Yeah, yeah.
oh wow, okay. So like there was like, I was like 9 or 10 and it was on the TV and there was some sexual scene or something happening,
Something
and my mom just
romantic.
comes in, like,
Yeah.
turns off the TV and goes like, you're too young for this. And I'm like, okay, like I
Yeah.
won't watch it. What else? And then later, during a period of time, stuff like when uncomfortable things come up in movies or shows, it's immediately a response, like a reflex action to change the channel.
Correct.
Right? So that I definitely grew up with. I think when I started sex ed, after that it changed a lot.
Yeah.
Because so first of all, I didn't even tell my parents.
Okay.
I told them when we hit 10K because I wanted them to believe कि हम कुछ कर रहे हैं and people care.
Yeah.
So then they got like a whole cake and everything. Like, congratulations. It was really cute.
Oh.
After that, my mom was just like, okay, fine. Like, you're not talking about something that's irrelevant or not
Correct.
relevant to people's lives.
Correct.
So yeah, like it took a while. It took
Yeah.
at least 3 years.
Yes, of course. I think mothers also understand it better sometimes.
Yeah.
Because they have also probably been subject to certain amount of stigmatization.
And they've
in
also
their
probably
times.
been confused in their times.
Totally confused with absolutely no education. Their only functioning was, oh, when do I find the man who I need to get married to and be
Yeah.
married, and that was pretty much it. Not even understanding their bodies and what their bodies will go through. No experience of sex, not encouraged to have sex prior as well. So yeah, obviously all that, and that's why if you have a mother who is supporting you, that like we have our mothers
Yeah.
supporting us, it's great to have that kind of support and basic understanding of what we're trying to do over here. So I wanted to ask you, yes, there has been so much more exposure to your generation. You know what I mean? Especially when it comes to the internet, where you get your information from. And a lot of it definitely might be the correct education, but there's a lot of wrong education out there.
Right.
As you're growing up, how do you start segregating that information? You know what I mean? In your head, or as a teenager, when you start hitting puberty and have feelings for the opposite sex or the same sex, whatever it may be, how do you start segregating that information as to what is correct for you and what is not correct for you?
So I think from a very uninformed space, it was usually just about what feels right and what goes in line with what I've already been told, right?
Correct.
But as I'm growing up and as I'm trying to like learn more and study more and everything, I've realized that one of the most basic things for me is that nobody should be enforcing their values or opinions on me, right? Like, facts is one thing, scientific facts is one thing, but nobody should be telling me, oh, you should have sex before marriage or you should wait until marriage. It's, you're given 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 is your option.
Correct.
And you choose whatever. These are the
Correct.
information associated with it. So for me, the most basic, correct educational thing could be that somebody tells me all the possible scenarios and contingencies and then lets me choose whatever I want depending on where I'm at in my
So
life.
pros and cons,
Yeah.
and whatever feels right at that moment. Of
Yeah,
time.
which a lot of people don't have access to, sadly.
Absolutely. And a lot of people also, I feel, do not have the maturity to sift as well. You know, on a lot of occasions, I feel peer pressure plays a huge role, especially when you're growing up.
Yeah.
And when you see your friends do things faster than you or slower than you, or whatever it may be, you want to try and be, you know, catching up with them or whatever
Yeah.
whatever that process is. I want to understand when you're making sex decisions or sexual decisions for yourself or even advising, how much of it is centered around safety, whether it be mental or physical? That is something that I want to understand. Are the generation which is obviously following us more reckless about it, more experimental about it, or are we taking the right steps, being that aware as a generation and exposed as a generation?
So I think there's very like two parts to it. Some of us are like, "F- it, we ball and just do whatever we want. And some of us are just like, we have to be careful about who we're associating with, right?
Yes.
Because there's, of course, it affects everybody in a different way, right? But I think the concepts, like, we have so many concepts like gaslighting and toxic relationships and this and that. But I feel like all of those we know in theory, but because we've never had the freedom to adapt it into our lives, we can't see it when it's happening.
Correct.
Right?
Exactly.
So if I'm in a toxic relationship, I know what a toxic relationship is.
Correct.
But I'll be so like, like, I don't identify with this. This is not me. Like that whole, you know, like mera wala different hai.
Is it in denial almost in
It's
in
mostly
ways?
in denial, but it's in denial because I've never had the opportunity to connect that to anything.
Correct.
It's not in denial because I don't want to admit it. It's just that I don't know what it is.
Correct. Absolutely. And that's exactly what I think we as a generation did not know what a toxic relationship was.
Yeah.
You know, or can we term it as toxic, or what is a toxic relationship? There was no definition
Right.
to give us like, okay, this is something that is completely unacceptable, you know, when you'll come together as a couple or whatever it may be.
So I think we've also like moved
you
from
have-
no identification to matching it together.
Correct. That is yet to happen, is
Yeah.
what you think. Where you'll have all these words,
Words.
gaslighting, breadcrumbing, toxic relationship, red flag, green flag. You have all that. And now as you educated me before, there's a beige flag and a pink flag. You want to tell the audience what a beige flag and a pink flag is?
So it's basically like, I was just telling Karishma about how Gen Z has created words, even though we've been very adamant about the fact that we don't want labels.
Correct.
But now we've created new labels and they're all really confusing. They're all really fun, of course. I love doing like emojis and like a nail emoji and a sparkling emoji. But a pink flag is basically that something that is supposed to be a red flag, but it's not as severe. So it's like toxic, but not super toxic, just like a little bit.
This is hilarious. And tell us what a beige flag is.
So a beige flag is just something in your partner that you see that is odd. Like it's not good, it's not bad, it's just somewhere in the middle. And you're bothered by it, but you're not going to do anything because it's not like major.
Okay, so it's too vanilla to actually take action.
Yeah.
Okay, it's like, हाँ रहने दो.
हाँ, it's like, अरे आपके पास छोटा है नहीं है तो चलेगा कोई बात नहीं. It's very that like मिल गया तो ठीक है, नहीं मिला तो it's fine only.
Wow. Oh, so please be educated about all these flags. I'm sure there are new colors coming up. Gen Z is very active in.
I'm
coming
sure
up with
there's a
this
race car
terminology.
flag just around the corner.
I'm sure. Whether it's supposed to start or stop, you wouldn't know. That's the race car flag.
Ideally, we should know, but yes.
Oh, that was an interesting insight over there. Moving on, what I wanted to understand and basically get from you is how are you destigmatizing conversations, being Generation Z, around you also, for the generation after you, before you? That is one thing. And how are you including cultural sensitivity and
Right.
keeping that in mind while doing it? How do you all do that?
Okay. So, like, one thing that I feel like is very, I mean, it's not just specific to our generation, it happens in every generation, that just words matter a lot, right? Linguistic sensitivity one side, but also
Correct.
just saying words matter.
Correct.
So, saying something like, I know I go to schools and I go like, just like the first thing I say is I just scream sex and see how many people laugh.
That's amazing. Tell me what reaction do you get?
It's usually people giggling and usually looking at each other and like, kya ho raha hai? I remember one time going to a workshop and be like, how many of y'all think we're here to teach you positions? And everyone start giggling. So it's like,
Yeah,
it's
correct.
very
That's-
important.
That's ice breaking a
Yeah.
conversation.
So
Absolutely.
that ice breaking, it might be uncomfortable for 10 seconds, but then prepared for
Yes.
whatever's coming next.
Correct.
Right.
Absolutely.
So it's very fun for me to talk about it in a way like, oh, 20 years of your life you've been told, or 20, however many years of your life you've been told to repress this part.
Correct.
This is a safe space. Talk about it however you want here. If you don't want to talk to me directly, come to me later, text me, email me, come to me on, like, write me a chitti, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
But it's very like making them believe that you're somebody who's their age
Correct.
and somebody who understands.
Yeah.
Even if we don't always have the answers, we know what you've been through and we know you can talk to us.
Cool.
So it's just going in that way.
Absolutely. I mean, you don't have to know everything as long as you are a year. You are a sounding year to be spoken to, also trusted, more importantly.
Yeah.
I think that is something that lacks, confidentiality also is a
Yeah.
problem in most, because you normally spread it around and giggle about it and probably spread some rumors around it. But it's very, very difficult to find those people who are going to keep your secrets and
Yeah.
obviously not judge you for the choices that you make.
Yeah.
So that's great and very, very refreshing, because it was very different when I was growing up. It was always, looked down upon if you were sexually, forget about active, even vocal. If you even expressed that you like a boy, or you want to date him, or if you want to even do things to him, but these things were really looked down upon, and it's almost slut shaming to a large extent,
Yeah.
which I don't think should have been the case, because these are so natural to feel. These feelings are very natural, and it was very differently looked upon. It was only like, oh, if you like somebody and if you're dating somebody, you better end up marrying him, and not, just date because you just want to date and not
Yeah.
anything else.
I feel like when it comes to sexuality, there's always a catch that society has.
Yeah.
So like either you're either if you're sexually active, then you're like, oh my god, you're a slut.
Yeah.
Or if you're not sexually active, it's like, oh my god, is there something wrong with you?
Correct.
Or are
There's
you
no
like?
in between.
So for me, I wasn't
Yeah.
sexually active my entire school life, right? And I wasn't really interested in any boys either, because simply I just wasn't.
Sure.
Like there's no explanation.
Yeah.
And so many teachers,
Yeah.
like absolute teachers, have told me that me and my best friend, like, oh, are you guys like lesbians? And I'm just like, why?
Yeah, just because we don't.
But
want to,
even
that's
if
a
we
bit- yeah.
are, like, what is the
And yeah, what is
problem
the problem?
here?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So it was just like, no matter what you do, people are gonna have something to say. You might as well
Agree.
just figure out who you are.
Agree. And not pay attention to the noise around you.
Yeah.
And just do what you're doing. Absolutely. I completely agree over there. Speaking of being lesbian, how is Gen Z approaching sexuality? Are you all open to your various, permutations and combinations of relationships, from with the same sex, opposite sex, being transgender or non-binary, or however you fit in the LGBTQIA community? How are y'all, just treating or accepting people of the community around you?
So I think that there is still definitely a lot of stigma. There's still
There
definitely
is.
a lot of discrimination. And it doesn't come a lot on the main lines. Like, you don't see it a lot, Like, there's stuff that happens that just gets brushed aside because it's from a marginalized community and people don't really pay attention. But at least I've been very lucky that the people I've surrounded myself with have always been very... If they don't understand something, they'll still respect it. Like, that's what I tell everybody that I
Correct.
talk to also.
Correct.
You don't have to completely understand somebody to
True.
respect them,
Of course.
right? And it's not about choices. It's about the fact that you have like an identity. Like, this is something that's very, the internet talks about this a lot.
Yeah.
We can have different opinions on what pizza topping to have.
Absolutely.
You can't have a different opinion about whether I'm into somebody or not.
Correct.
So
Correct.
it's really like, I think a lot of youth is still very not okay with different genders or different sexualities. They don't accept it.
Mm.
But there's something that I like is there has been a culture of accountability that has been created. Like if you try to bully somebody or if you try to make somebody feel bad about their identity, there's going to be people who are going to help. Like, the person out who's being abused.
Correct.
Or the person who is like being accounted. Like someone should be held accountable.
Sure.
I feel like that culture has really increased, which is like a stepping stone to people ultimately getting accepted.
Absolutely, whether it be from their peers or from their family.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think the community wave is very rampant at this moment of time.
Yeah.
We see it so in your face. It's on Instagram. We have a lot of representation when it comes to the arts and even fashion shows right now, putting a lot of body positivity out there along with community, which is really refreshing to see. A lot of the LGBTQI community is getting momentum and their spotlight as well, doing things which are making the right changes for their community,
Yeah.
which is very refreshing to see. And that vocalization is, I think, very crucial to the Indian diaspora, considering we came from a very open culture, but then were forced to be closed.
Yeah.
And then again, now I feel we're opening up again. And yes, it's going to take time because we have a lot of generations to convince,
Yeah.
when it comes to this kind of cultural change shift. And some people just might not change. And we
Yeah.
have to accept that as well.
Right.
But the ability to live and let live,
Yeah.
and exist side by side is what makes us, I think, India. And I think we'll have a lot more people in advocating this kind of acceptance. So
Yeah.
that's why I think your generation plays a very crucial role. We have come from a fact that हाँ अब तो हम खुल गए because हमारे experiences ऐसे थे
Yeah.
कि ये आपको सहने की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं, क्योंकि आपकी एक्सपोजर एजुकेशन बहुत अलग है, और आपके when it comes to your slightly rebellion nature,
Yeah.
also plays a very crucial part. Here, if we had one slap on our knuckle, we would be...
Yeah. I feel like we're the enough is enough generation.
Correct.
Like we're like, whatever has been happening till now, fine if y'all were okay with it, we're
Correct.
not.
Exactly. That is where I think you'll have really established boundaries.
Yeah.
And maintained that self-respect. Whether if that beating is coming from an older generation, y'all don't really care. You really don't.
That's
think...
such an ego boost.
No, but it's true. And you're as long as it fits or doesn't fit with your sensibilities, you're very vocal about it.
Yeah.
Saying, "Nahi, this is not us." That may work, could have or should have worked for you. It doesn't work the same way here. And that is great to see. Okay. In your interaction with doctors, has there been any experience of yours which has basically made you feel that they are not open to talking about certain things or are judging you, for the choices that you're making, if you are sexually active or not? But have you come across anything that is, remotely alarming?
So like there's again good and bad to everything. I've seen a lot of doctors that are super judgmental
Okay.
and super like, I can't believe you did this, and like stuff like actually imposing their own morals. I've heard doctors say like, oh, you're like my child. No, I'm not like
Or
your child. I'm your patient and treat me like your patient, which
Correct.
is fine. I'm coming here for your expert guidance. I'm
Yeah.
not coming here for like moral policing. Like calm
Or
down.
family.
Yeah, like I have enough family, please. So it's very like a lot of people are like, which is not wrong, right?
Yeah.
It's also they see their own child in that.
Correct.
So they're like, oh,
absolutely.
if something happens to my,
My
child, I
child,
would
how
say
will-
something.
yeah, correct.
It's very cute in a
Yeah,
way, but
yeah.
it's also very unprofessional.
Correct.
But I've also seen a lot of good, like doctors that have gone out of their way to be like, you should do this, 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 this. I know you're under a lot of pressure. I know this is a topic that's not something that's talked about.
Yeah.
I'm here if you need me.
Oh, that's great.
So
That's great.
A lot of that. And I think sometimes the stigma also comes from the fact that when you go to urologist or gynecologist or
Gynecologist.
whoever,
Yes.
you go with your parents. So
Yes.
like a guardian's usually in the room.
Correct.
So the doctor is also trying to make you not feel uncomfortable in front of a authority figure that might harm you later.
Correct.
Or like might, like police you later.
Correct.
So
Absolutely.
it really just depends on situation to situation.
So, how is Gen Z when it comes to using contraception?
So I absolutely hate this about Gen Z. Like I absolutely hate this. And you would think that because we have the right information and we have access to so many resources, we would be more careful with contraception.
Sure.
But Gen Z is absolutely disgusting with it. There are insane amount of DMs and calls that I've gotten at the most odd hours that have been like, oh, I don't know what to do. Should I be using like contraception right now? Or should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? And I'm like, yeah, like,
Yeah.
why don't you, like, we've been talking about this for a while.
Correct.
And people just act like condoms are not a big deal. Like,
But also that we have learned as a part of Sassy is that a lot of people do not want to use condoms because it does not feel the same. That is the
I
general.
feel like that's such an overestimation of someone is random whim. Like if something like if a sweater doesn't fit and it's cold outside, you won't wear a sweater over.
Correct.
You'll find one that
Yeah.
fits.
Yeah.
You'll find one that
absolutely.
works for you. And
Yeah.
then something bad will happen, then there'll be like popping pills like they're Skittles.
Correct.
You can't be taking iPill like it's like your
Chana.
yeah, like chana, like मम्मी ने salad बनाई थी extra तो मैंने खा ली. ऐसा नहीं होता
yeah,
है.
and it's very dangerous.
Yeah.
Which I don't think people understand the consequences of popping pills like that. But on a just understanding of why this is, with all the information around, with all whatever that you have access to, I'm really not wrapping my head around why do people behave so erratic or reckless, or are they just taking advantage of themselves being young, and nothing can happen to me, that kind of thing.
I think it's a little bit of everything. I think the young thing factors in a way that you're like, this is my time to live.
Correct.
And some like fucked up part of that being young and living
Yeah.
comes without contraception.
Yes.
Which is not true. You can still live with
Absolutely,
contraception. You can still
absolutely.
be reckless
Yeah.
with contraception. Like,
Yes.
do other things that are bad. Like, don't,
Correct.
fuck with your health.
Correct.
It's very that way. But like, I think it's such thing in a way that our generation's been very like, oh, we can't be told what to do.
Mm.
Yeah. And that's very cool in most ways.
Yeah.
But that's not very cool when it comes to your health.
Not at all. Brings me to the point where if you're not behaving so reckless about, your sexual behavior, are you all going for the right checkups every few months to make sure that everything is in place?
So, most people I know don't.
No?
Most people I know have never even been to a gynac.
Okay.
Like, not even once in their life.
Hmm.
And, like, the thing is, it's not completely their fault either because
Yeah.
the accessibility is very less.
Yeah.
You already have this perception in your head that you're going to be judged. Whether you're going to be
Correct.
judged or not is a
Is the
different factor.
Correct. Absolutely.
But you already know that someone's going to look at you and be like, "Chhi," like,
Yeah,
"Ye
so
kya
I
hai?"
don't think you should be worried about that being Gen Z with us because
Yeah.
our gynacs are completely non-judgmental, and we are definitely welcoming to have the most ickiest of conversations that you want to have, and we will not bat an eyelid. Trust me. So yeah, we've had some bizarre conversations that have come to us in DMs.
Yeah.
Which we are
I'm sure.
which when three of us like we get together and discuss them, our mouths are like open.
Yeah.
We're like, what the hell is happening? But keeping all that aside, all that shock value aside, we view it very objectively, and understand why a behavior is so, and try to wrap our heads around it in a psychological understanding of it,
Right.
which is what I think the way it should be, is to understand from the roots upwards as to why
Yeah.
you would behave a certain way, act a certain way, approach things a certain way. And that's very important to know about yourself. It comes much later in life. That understanding comes much later. Trust me, even in my 30s, I am trying to wrap around so many topics and so much of information to sift from, but a lot of self-awareness that settles in
Yeah.
as you age makes you reflect back on a lot of instances in the past, which says probably maybe that shouldn't have been done, or maybe I could have handled that better, or maybe I shouldn't have been that impulsive about certain things. But yeah, being the impulsive generation that you are, I'm sure you will have your set of learning.
Yeah.
What I wanted to know is that as Sex Ed India, what do you see yourselves doing very consistently, educating the youth? How do you go about it in the coming future?
So, like, in a way that how we go about is definitely we use so much pop culture.
Yes.
I'm actually sick of it. I'm in a way that's like, I love pop culture, but if
Yeah.
we're talking about it every 2-3 days, I'm like, what are we doing? Like, are we a
Correct.
meme page? But the
No.
thing is, that is what our audience responds to the best.
Yes.
And they learn from it. They actually have gotten, like, okay, so we did this one post. It was about how Drake had a controversy that he puts hot sauce in his condoms after, like, he's had sex with someone just so somebody can't impregnate themselves. It
So
turned
he
out to be a
was
lie.
Killing his sperm.
Yeah.
So
With
that he
hot
doesn't have to
sauce.
pay.
Yeah. So now the whole controversy was, oh my god, Drake got hot sauce on his, like, penis. And everyone was just like, shit, kya karna hai? And one of my co-founders called me and she's like, listen, we need to make a post about this. And I was like, listen, people know not to put hot sauce. And she was like, no. And we made a post and it went viral and we got at least 6 messages. They were like, thank you, we really needed this. And I'm just like,
Exactly.
bye, what?
Yeah.
So it's like, it can be very bizarre, but
Yeah.
you cannot come from a mindset that, oh, this is bizarre, people should already know.
Correct.
You come from a very baseline, like, oh, all of this is bad.
Correct.
And nobody knows any of this. So it's like
Yes.
teaching like a blank slate of paper or like a toddler.
Absolutely,
Bilkul.
absolutely. And that is what I think even we have to understand. And no matter how shocking or however controversial a topic might seem, it is very essential to go down to the basics and start giving information from there. We, again, as I said, I think Indians keep a lot of food items and kitchen items handy
Yeah.
for reasons best known to them. And that kind of education again required that what can do you harm, what doesn't do you harm. I think a lot of people have come to us with like vegetable questions.
Yeah.
Utensil questions.
Yeah.
Sometimes even glass bottles. Stuff that like they just don't. They're so erratic about it that it is so essential to really go basic and then build it up, because you have to really make sure that it is so dumbed down that even, as you said, a toddler would understand. Yeah. So that is that.
Just to clarify, we're not teaching toddlers.
No,
we're just
we're not.
talking to people
We're
like
not
that.
teaching toddlers, but I think as we grow up, sex education, which is age appropriate,
Yeah.
is very crucial. As young as 5, 6, to start at that moment of time, understanding the assimilation ability of a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old, speaking to them about good touch, bad touch from the beginning, because 90% of any kind of sexual abuse primarily comes from the family. And these are the things that we need to really keep in mind, especially when it comes to our country, and educate accordingly. I feel that sex education has to be an every year thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A part of your curriculum, definitely examined on.
Yeah.
It has to be inculcated in such a manner which ultimately leads you to make so many aware and obviously better decisions for yourself, for your body, to educate yourself at the right time regarding what changes your body is going to go through. This kind of sex education, age appropriate sex education, I think is the future. Otherwise, we're going to make really horrible mistakes when it comes to our population, which is already 1.42 billion. How many more people do we need? Okay. So, Sanya, we have a fun segment called Sass or Sus. And to obviously represent Sass, we have hearts, our lovely purple heart. And we have our Sus with a sad smiley. Now, I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions, and accordingly, what resonates with you, doesn't resonate with you, is one of these.
I feel like my generation's gonna disown me after this. But like, I feel like I'm gonna expose them a little too much.
Listen, okay, you're an advocate.
Yes, I will do right by everyone.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, yes, let's go.
Okay, starting with question number 1. Gen Z is more aware about sex education.
Then other generations, yes.
Definitely.
Sass.
Right, super. Gen Z finds it more open to talk to their parents about gender and sexuality. Mix both.
Both.
Okay, both.
I
up then.
don't. Yeah.
Okay, can be still difficult right now, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Gen Zs take informed choices when it comes to relationships.
No.
Okay.
It's just not. Like, there are so many times where I feel like people don't know what they want, and because they can't accept, even when they know what they want, they can't accept it. I feel like there's a lot of ambiguity, and there's a lot of, like, people don't know what they're asking for. And it becomes like a whole gray area and like a whole khichdi.
Correct.
And then everyone's confused, and then we're all just mad at each other because, like, bro, why didn't you say something? Why did you say something? So it's just a whole thing.
Okay. Gen Z respects cultural norms on sexual wellness.
Yeah, mostly. I think, at least I think mostly they do.
Okay. Gen Z uses technology for accessible sexual wellness resources.
Mix both. Some
Mix
of them
of
use
both.
it for really whack things. Like,
Okay.
okay.
Are they buying stuff which on the dark web?
I mean, they could be. But also, some people are just like becoming influencers and doing things like, oh my god, like, I'm gonna use this as a contraceptive, and I think you should eat papaya if you want to not get pregnant. And I'm just like, nahi.
Yeah.
Like, you are either give me the facts or give me the science or just stop talking. Like, don't
Correct.
spread misinformation about a topic that's already so much of a taboo.
A lot of people also, I feel, are sex educators, experts that come across without much knowledge regarding
Yeah.
the topic,
Yeah.
and have become huge
Yeah.
because just that they're acceptable to talk about sex very
Yeah.
openly. So yeah,
I feel like when something happens and I don't know something, and I'm just like, listen, I don't know
don't
about
know.
this particular thing.
yes,
I'll ask somebody who's better
Knows.
knowledgeable than me, and I'll get
Yes.
back to you.
absolutely. It's very important to make informed, statements.
Yeah.
More importantly, and I think that is very crucial. Gen Z destigmatizes discussions on sexual wellness.
Yes.
Yes. Gen Z values inclusivity and representation in sexual wellness.
Most of the times, I would give some props to my generation.
Okay. With sex tech around you and the resources available, is Gen Z open to using those resources or even searching for them in the right places?
I feel like they're definitely open to using them. It's a sort of a thin line whether you know it's the right resource or not.
Okay.
So that I feel like that you need a little guidance on, and our generation and younger generations need a little guidance on whether what kind of science is the science that you need to be listening
Correct.
to. Right?
Absolutely. Gen Z believes open conversations break taboos on sexual wellness.
Yes. Yay.
Gen Z challenges societal norms through sexual wellness discussions.
Maybe. Yeah, mostly.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Gen Z acknowledges diverse perspectives on sexual wellness.
I think we definitely acknowledge it more than other people do, but I think most of our generation is still pretty set in their ways about it's not even their fault, it's just years
It is
and
just
years
years
of conditioning.
I completely
Yeah.
agree with you on that. Then cultural sensitivity is unimportant for Gen Z in sexual wellness.
No, it's very, very, very important.
Very important.
Yes.
Yes. Gen Z believes comprehensive sexual education is crucial.
Yes, sass.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Gen Z is very open to using pleasure products.
Yes, sass. I have met so many Gen Zs
Yeah.
who are fully like they know about toys more than I do sometimes.
That's great. Yeah.
And that's insane. I mean, I need to up my game, but like
Just wanted to understand, like, how young are people using, sexual wellness products?
I mean, I've never heard about it from anybody younger than 16, 17.
Okay, but there is a
But
16.
yeah, I've definitely heard 16-year-olds
Okay.
talk about
Okay.
toys.
Wow.
And they're like actually really like, because it's a big investment or whatever,
Correct.
at least for a 16-year-old.
Yes, it is.
Then it is like they do their research and everything. Like they know what they're doing. So it's really cool to see how they're like adapting to the fact that they have more access to resources.
Correct. Absolutely. If you're vocal about your sexuality and preferences, you are asking for it.
I mean, sus. I have been accused of the same, but
Yeah.
sus. There have been times where people have looked at Sex Ed ka page and then come to our personal DMs and be like, oh my god, you know, like just
Yeah.
do crude remarks and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. We
And
get those.
there have been times when you're like, oh, I don't want to do this work anymore because you're getting so many crude remarks. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's important. Like,
of course.
there's this one time when one of my co-founders like got a text from somebody and they thought that the reel section in our page is a catalog for women that
my
we are
God.
presenting ourselves. And I was just like, did y'all read the information? Because that's not what's happening.
That's absolutely ridiculous, but I definitely can identify with the kind of reactions we get also in DMs, considering we're a sexual wellness brand for women. People do think that we are sometimes a whorehouse and approach us accordingly. And we have to like literally get down to their level and talk to them. You know, and there was this one particular incident that I want to share. So I clearly identified the person. So he was basically DMing in Sassiest DMs, and he was talking about are we available and
Yeah.
what is the price point and whatever, all that nonsense. And I realized he was somebody who was a Maharashtrian.
Right.
Okay, so when I asked him, I spoke to him in Marathi. And I said, Marathi boltos? That was my first thing that I said to him. And then he was like, oh, because I identified the name. And I said, हे बघ, आम्ही एक कंपनी आहोत जिथे आम्ही सेक्शुअल वेलनेस प्रोडक्ट्स आणि डॉक्टरचे सर्व्हिसेस प्रोव्हाइड करतो आणि जेव्हा तुम्हाला प्रॉब्लेम असेल, सेक्शुअल प्रॉब्लेम्स असतील, तर प्लीज आमच्या कंपनीला अप्रोच करा. लाईक आय हॅड लिटरली रिटन दिस इन इंग्लिश, नो मराठी अँड इंग्लिश, अँड आय सेंड इट आउट टू हिम अँड ही जस्ट flipped because he then realized that we were coming from a different space and suddenly it was almost like he became my brother which was very refreshing to see.
Yeah.
Because the way we I think it's very important to get down to that level and speak to them where it actually, you know, makes sense and it goes through their thick head that we are meaning business over here and it's not
Right.
something that you're going to be allowed to approach us with.
Yeah.
I think that is important to put
Those
across.
boundaries are very different for us. Like everybody
Absolutely.
who talks about sexuality or gender or anything on the internet,
Yeah.
that boundary becomes very difficult for us to establish because at one point you're putting yourself on an open source place
Correct.
where you're talking about everything that nobody's ever talked about.
Correct.
And then you're suddenly like, ki nahi. So people are not used to the nahi.
Yes.
Right? So, matlab, it gets difficult, but you know, at the end of the day, you have to establish those boundaries if you want to continue doing this work.
Correct.
So,
Absolutely. I completely
Yeah.
agree with you. And even there are like certain conversations that we get, even if we are, you know, people who are interested in knowing about the business. The curiosity also comes from the fact that they come to us and asking, do y'all use your own products? And I'm like, it's a given
Yeah.
that if we are, you know, advocating certain things, there's a reason why we are doing so, and we are testing only because we want this experience to be, you know, felt by many other women as well.
Right.
So obviously we are doing our own testing and we are authentic about what we bring out into the market.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so we definitely make that conversation a part of our communication, which is important, I think.
I think the same thing happens with me. Like, so many times people come to my DMs and go like, are you a virgin? And I was like, why do you care? Like,
Like,
and
these
I mean,
things.
their perception's very coming from the place like, how can you talk about sex if you've never had it? Which is stupid, but
Absolutely.
I understand.
I get it. I get it.
I get where they're coming from,
Yeah,
but it's also
yeah.
really stupid.
Yeah, it is.
It's like saying a person who's developing the vaccine for, I mean, not vaccine, the
The-
cure for
the
cancer
cancer, yeah.
can't cure it because they've
he's
never
not-
had cancer.
yeah.
Ye aise thodi
Yeah,
hota
it
hai.
doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
So great episode.
Yes.
And high five, babe.
Let's go. Oh.